We're really close to the launch of our ECT model, as we've offered that carrot out there in relation to the passive fundraising model that we're going to deliver, and we're about to do that. So that's pretty exciting. So make sure that you keep checking the newsletter, and obviously you'll be seeing this video on the Carrot newsletter. But it's interesting how we spread or divide the line between recruitment and retention. You know, because I think you'd probably agree, it's not as hard to get them in the door, but it's then hard to get them to take a seat and stay. So which instantly goes from recruitment to retention, almost like the next minute. You know, It's that process. But I'm really interested in, and because I have lots of conversations with lots of organisations about this, you know, is retention more important than recruitment? Because if you're really good at retaining the current volunteers that you have, you don't really need to recruit. However, you've got legacy issues then of going, what's the next generation going to do? And we find a lot at the moment. So it'd be interesting to get your perspective on what's the enthusiasm for stepping in the door from the younger, you know, we know it as junior tennis players and move into seniors. There's a different level of competition.
So at the last market, we just had, the school normally runs the barbecue, and we were sort of left, they couldn't do it. The tennis club said, okay, well, I said, yes, the tennis club will take care of it. I turned around to one of my own children who is 18 and one of his playing partners and another younger girl at the club. And I actually said to them, if I paid you to run the barbecue, you know, I need you to turn up at 7:30 and you need to be there till 12:30. I'm going to give you some dollars to do it. And that got them across the line. And yet at the end of the barbecue, and I was paying them out, I said, look, you need to be discreet about this because there's some volunteers that have given up their time and they're not getting paid. And they all turned around to me and they said, oh, we do it next time for nothing. I just think that sometimes the initial recruitment, if the experience is great, then retention is not necessarily so hard. And I'm also a bit of a believer that actually you shouldn't stay in a role for too long, because that actually stops other people. You know, if they think, oh, Michelle's going to do it, Michelle will take care of it, Michelle will put her hand up, I don't need to worry. It takes away their ownership of their community. So if you actually create a space that is supported and has all the framework, and so they're stepping into something that they know they can come and ask me a question, but actually it's going to be their job to take on. I think that it's actually really important to have a succession plan, and committees and volunteer groups are terrible at anything like that.
The other big one was the net opportunity for intelligence is going to zero cost as well, which means that anyone can be on a level playing field in knowledge if you use the right tools and information. So business plans, all of those things that were traditionally really, really complex pieces, even the questions I need to ask the coach, what would be the 10 best questions to identify to get the best coach, that is all available at our fingertips now. The issue is that I would say 80% of this audience, our audience, doesn't know what it is or how to use it. So I don't think it's the only solve. I think it's a big solve moving forward in the gap between skills that are coming through. And if you get it right with simple tools that anyone can use anytime, anyhow, and change just slight perspectives, maybe that opens up a whole different world for how we approach volunteers and recruit in the future. So that's where I'm going to leave, that I think there's still technology opportunity. I don't think it's a centre point, but it's an important component